In these questions, we're adding decimals with tenths. So first we have 3.1 plus 2.6. We can set this out as a column addition, making sure that we have our decimal points lined up, because if our decimal points are lined up, then our ones and our tenths place value columns will be lined up as well. One thing that's really important is that we copy the decimal point down into our answer, and I like to do this straight away so that I don't forget. Now we can just use column addition, working from right to left, so starting by adding our tenths. 1 plus 6 is 7, and now we can move on to our ones column, and 3 plus 2 is 5, so our answer is 5.7. Now we have 3.9 plus 3.3, so again we can set this out as a column addition, making sure that our decimal points are lined up so that our ones and our tenths columns are lined up as well. We can copy the decimal point down into our answer, and now we use column addition. 9 plus 3 is 12, so that's 1, 2, and now 1 plus 3 plus 3 is 7, so our answer is 7.2. So to show what we did, first we had 3.1, so that's 3 wholes and 1/10, and we were adding 2.6, so that's 2 wholes and 6/10. We started by adding our tenths, and if we put our tenths together, you can see that we now have 7/10, and this fraction bar is now empty, so we can ignore it. So, adding our whole numbers, we have 3 plus 2, which gave us 5. Then we had 3.9, so that's 3 wholes and 9/10, and we were adding 3.3, so that's 3 wholes and 3/10. We started by putting our tenths together to make 12/10, but 12/10 is the same as 1 whole and 2/10. That's why we carried the 1 whole over to the ones column and left the 2 in our tenths answer line. Then 1 plus 3 plus 3 is 7, and you can see here that we have 7 wholes altogether. We could also show what we did using place value counters. So for this first question, we started with 3.1, so that's 3 wholes and 1/10. First we added 6/10, so let's add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6/10. That gives us 7/10 altogether, and then we added 2 wholes, so if we add 2 ones, that gives us 5 ones altogether, so gives us our answer of 5.7. Then for the next question, we started with 3.9, so 3 wholes and 9/10, and in this question we had to exchange. We're adding 3/10, but if we add 1/10, we then have 10/10, which we can exchange for 1 whole. So we've added 1/10, so let's add 2 3/10, and that gives us 2/10 that we have in our answer line. Then we added 3 ones, so if we add 1, 2, 3 ones, you can see that we now have 7 ones altogether. So now let's try some more questions. We have 3.4 plus 0.6, so again we can set this out as a column addition, making sure that our decimal points are lined up and copying the decimal point down into our answer line. We work from right to left, so we start by adding our tenths. 4 plus 6 is 10, so that's 1, 0, and then 1 plus 3 plus 0 is 4, so our answer is 4.0. But 4.0 can just be written as 4, because all the 0.0 tells us is that we don't have any tenths, but showing a whole number also shows us that we don't have any tenths, so we don't need to write the 0.0 in our answer. Finally, we have 3.7 plus 3.5, so we set it out as a column addition, copy the decimal point down into our answer line, And now 7 plus 5 is 12, so 1, 2, and 1 plus 3 plus 3 is 7, so our answer is 7.2. Let's see what we did here. We started with 3.4, so that's 3 wholes and 4 tenths, and we were adding 0.6, so that's no wholes and 6 tenths. You can see that when we put our tenths together, we get 10 tenths, but 10 tenths is the same as 1 whole, and then we just have an empty fraction bar which we can ignore. So rather than 4.0, we can just write 4 as our answer because we have 4 wholes. Then we had 3.7, so that's 3 wholes and 7 tenths, and we were adding 3.5, so 3 wholes and 5 tenths. When we put our tenths together, we got 12 tenths, but that's the same as 1 whole and 2 tenths, so we carried the 1 whole over to our ones place value column and left the 2 tenths in our answer line. Then we did 1 plus 3 plus 3 to make 7 wholes, and you can see that we have 7 whole bars here. We can also show what we did using place value counters. For the first question, we started with 3.4, so 3 ones and 4 tenths, and we were adding 6 tenths. So if we add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tenths, we now have 10 tenths altogether, but we can exchange 10 tenths for 1 whole, and that means that we have 4 wholes altogether as our answer. Then we had 3.7, so 3 ones and 7 tenths. We started by adding 5 tenths, but if we add 1, 2, 3 tenths, we can exchange, and then add 4, 5 tenths. So adding 5 tenths meant that we could make 1 extra whole, and then we had 2 tenths in our answer line. Then we just added 3 more ones, so 1, 2, 3, to give us 7 ones altogether, and our answer of 7.2. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that was helpful. If you're a teacher or a parent, then please subscribe or go to keystage2maths.com to download resources for this lesson and many more. That's all for now. I'll see you in the next video.